be a very close game, and there's a very good chance the Cowboys can pull an upset, especially add in the fact that Aaron Rodgers is not 100%.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, you're right about that. The running game, that does play into their style there. And yeah, absolutely. The officials, which crew shows up here, that could play part of it as well into this thing, man. Absolutely, though. Final game, circling it around, and this is the big one, the marquee one from the NFL's perspective with the quarterbacks and all that. But you've got Pettine and his former team doing battle again here, Luck and Manning, Indianapolis and Denver. And I've got to be honest, this was the game that I said yesterday I think will be the least competitive, and I'm not saying it's going to be a complete blowout, but I think this will be the least competitive of the four. I think Denver just dismantles the Colts defense outside, but I don't know. What do you think?
No, I kind of agree with you. The only way Indianapolis can win this game is if you have a Luck 400-yard game and 4 touchdowns, and he just carries the team on his shoulders, which he's capable of doing. But they're going to have to win a 35-31 game because they're not going to be able to stop Denver. And, you know, there's just too much put on the shoulders of Andrew Luck at this point. There's no running game in Indianapolis. The defense is inconsistent from week to week. And they ask him to do too much. It's as simple as that. And the scary thing is, you know, obviously Luck Manning 3, as you mentioned, is the big profile. You know, you think about Peyton Manning and everything he's done in his career, and in every single measurable, Andrew Luck is ahead of him. Every single one. You know, he's won more games. He's thrown for more yards. He's got 2 playoff wins. Peyton didn't get there till his 6th NFL season. He's going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And, you know, but his time is later. Indianapolis just hasn't built up enough around him to help him. If they did, they would be right in the conversation because he is just unbelievable.
Well, it reminds me even, you know, early on, the talk of with Pettine in his career, get him a running game, and then all of a sudden, you know, you open things up even more because he's so potent just by himself. You know, obviously Indianapolis tried. Thank you for the first-round draft pick for Trent Richardson, but they don't have an effective running game, and that's always going to be, you know, an Achilles heel. And that's the thing that I think when you add that, you start developing, obviously some weapons are coming receiver-wise for him, but that changes the dynamic. We see it here. We saw. I mean, I think it's amazing when you talk about a team, you know, that can zero in. You know how Indianapolis is going to beat you if they're going to beat you. You know, I'm not saying their running backs can't go off from time to time, but for the most part, you know how Indianapolis is going to beat you. And then when he's able, Luck, to still have that success through the air, that makes you go, much like, you know, like a younger Peyton Manning, you go, man, imagine if this guy had an offensive line and a running game that was adding to what he was doing there, and then all of a sudden teams had to really respect that play action, and man, what could he do? Because he's already as successful as he is.
Yeah, and, you know, you're right about the thing with Peyton Manning. That was some of the similar things, if only they did this. But I'll tell you, at the darkest depths of Peyton Manning in Indianapolis, he never had to rely on Dan Herron at running back. I mean,
hey,
they have nothing. They have
baby.
nothing, which is just more. It tells you how talented Andrew Luck has been.
They have Trent Richardson.
Again, you know, again, he's got more regular season wins. He's already got 2 postseason wins. He broke a single-season passing yardage record. He's thrown for more yards than any quarterback in NFL history through 3 seasons. Yep. You know, there's got to be a couple tweaks here and there, but you know, I think we're going to be talking about Andrew Luck as one of those guys. He's going to have 2 or 3 Super Bowls somewhere down the line.
Oh, no doubt at all. Jon McMullen from the Sports Network, thank you very much for joining us. Usually John's with us on Mondays here, but we did a little Wednesday thing preview, and next week we'll have a Final Four to look into as we head into it. I was looking at everybody's predictions here. I was looking yesterday. We were talking about it. I think you're half alive. I think you had what Would you have New Orleans, I think, coming out of the NFC for the Super Bowl? Yeah,
hey, I don't want to think about. I don't want to think about my predictions. Yeah, I thought New Orleans was going to have a great year, but I wasn't the only one. They might have been one of the most disappointing teams.
Let's see. I didn't even mean to do this, but since I pulled the page up, let's see. You had in the NFC, you had Philly, Seattle, New Orleans, Green Bay, Chicago, and Tampa Bay making the playoffs.
Yeah,
I know. Trust me.
I can't defend myself there.
And in the AFC, let's see. You had New England, Denver, Indianapolis, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and San Diego. Hey, man.
Yeah, a little bit easier in the AFC.
Yeah, you went decent there, but you still alive in the AFC. You had Denver and New Orleans in the Super Bowl in our preseason picks. So, my playoffs picks didn't look that great either, but my Super Bowl's still alive. But it wasn't that hard for me to go out on a ledge, and pick a couple of teams like New England and Seattle. Or, excuse me, I had Denver and Seattle. But
yeah, sometimes you try to go out of the box. I know a lot of people this year thought Tampa Bay, and actually they have quite a bit of talent down there, which is amazing considering how bad things went.
Right.
And you thought getting a veteran coach would turn things around. But, the NFL's funny. When things start going the wrong way, it's difficult to stop them. And I've always said it's an 8-8 league. Basically, you start at 8-8 and you go up or down from there. If you have a really good quarterback, you start at 11 wins. If you have a really bad quarterback, you're down to 5 wins, and everybody kind of moves from there.
Yep.
Talent-wise, you would be stunned that, Tampa Bay, the team with the number 1 overall pick, and whoever wins the Super Bowl, you shift 5 players from those 2 teams around, and Tampa Bay would be on top.
It's the way the NFL is, man. It's their system, and they love it. And we'll see. We'll talk more about it, man. We're still marching to the end of this one, though, man. And a lot of good football still left to be played. Coaching searches going on as teams fill those. We'll talk about that. Coordinators coming and going. We've still got a lot of work to do. The NFL never ends. That's the great thing here is we're never.
No, I can tell you that it never ends. As soon as the Super Bowl's over, the combine's in 2 weeks, and then you get in the draft, and then it's mini camp, and boom, you're off and running.
And they fixed the draft this year. They moved it back up, so at least there's not that extra delay that they thought was a good idea there. They realized, not so good of an idea there. But yeah, man, off and running. So. Going to enjoy this one. This weekend's games will be a good one, and then I'm looking forward to catching up with you and talking about it and looking ahead to the Final Four.
All right, thanks for having me, Jerry.
Thanks for being here. As always, Jon McMullen, you guys can check him out on the sports networks, various distribution and all the places. He's syndicated around the country. Jon McMullen, national NFL writer for the Sports Network. He's here Mondays usually. Today's not Monday. I understand that, but he's here on Mondays. We're going to take a break. Our usual Wednesday guest is here. He's next. Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fans going to join us. We'll check in with him, talk a little bit of football here, Buckeyes and Ducks and all of that, and maybe a little bit of Browns mixed in. Who knows? Dan Wismar coming up next. Still plenty of sports fix as we roll on into hour 2. But first, the news coming your way. Then Dan Wismar joins us next here on the Sports Fix.
You go and find that profound. You won't be jealous of clever. When you hear thunder underground, here we go now.
And now, a very special announcement from the Sports Fix.
Black bears weigh between 200 and 500 pounds. Brown bears weigh between 300 and over 1,000 pounds. Black bears run away from you. Brown bears run at you. When attacked by a bear, simply lie still on the ground and cover your face and head with your hands. When the bear is finished batting you around and mauling you, contact the U.S. Forest Service.
And that was a message from the Sports Fix.
Hey, this is Scott Fujita, and you're listening to the Sports Fix. Business owners and professionals, do you want to take your business, your product, your team, your event to the next level? You want to advertise right here with the Sports Fix. Our listeners are among the most loyal listeners, terrestrial or internet. The Sports Fix universe is not only the radio show, but tens of thousands of fans on Facebook and Twitter. Email me, Jerry Myers, thesportsfix@AOL.com. That's thesportsfix@AOL.com. And let me help you swing for the fences and hit it out of the park right here on the Sports Fix.
Sports Fix listeners, do you tweet? So do we. So tweet with us 24/7 at the Sports Fix CLE.
Whether it's an oil change or a new set of tires, Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck has you covered for your automotive car care needs. They're your neighborhood quick service experts. They also offer a low price tire guarantee. Choose from 13 brands, and if you find the same tires at a lower price within 30 days, Quick Lane at Valley Ford will refund the difference. They're open late Monday through Thursday until 9 p.m. and open early Saturday so you can check it off your to-do list and get on with your day. They also have a newly remodeled service lounge and additional service bay just for Quick Lane oil changes. Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck is located at 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. Come see why life is better in the Quick Lane. QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck. That's QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Signs and Ship, the official printing source of the Sports Fix. Locations in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Florida. Find out more at signsandship.com.
News break. I'm Bob Picozzi with a college football report. Oregon will be looking for its first national championship. Ohio State seeking title number 6. The Ducks and the Buckeyes will square off next Monday night at Cowboy Stadium in the first college football playoff championship game, 8:30 Eastern Time on ESPN TV, 7 o'clock Eastern here on ESPN Radio. Appearing on ESPN's Championship Drive podcast, ESPN analyst Brad Edwards says he thinks it will be a long night for both defenses.
I do feel this being what Vegas is kind of projecting it to be, which is a shootout. You know, I really have a hard time seeing anyone slow down Oregon's offense. And look, for as well as Ohio State played defensively for a lot of that game against Alabama, they still gave up 35 points. And yes, a couple of those were on short fields, but Alabama also had opportunities to score more points. So, look, Oregon's going to score.
After losing quarterback Braxton Miller to a preseason injury, backup quarterback J.T. Barrett to a late-season injury, the Buckeyes have turned the keys to their offense over to Cardell Jones. And ESPN's Reese Davis says not everyone could handle this.
Some guys need to be needed. They need to be counted on. And it's not that they're trying to blow it off or pout, although some do. It's not that they're trying to blow it off or pout if they're not the starter. It's just that they respond better, you know, when somebody gives them the reins. And it appears, at least with this small sample size we have, that Cardell Jones is exhibit A of a guy who just responds better when he's being counted on.
It will. News break.
I'm Christine Lisi with breaking news from ESPN's David Hale. The father of Florida State quarterback Jameis Winston told Hale his son will enter the NFL draft. Initially, the elder Winston said his son planned to wait until after Monday's national championship game, but instead, Jameis came to a firm decision last night that he's ready to leave the Seminoles for the NFL. Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers will have his injured left calf reevaluated today to determine the practice plan for the rest of the week. Rodgers says he's not concerned about re-injuring it during Sunday's NFC playoff game against the Cowboys.
I got to get myself in the best position to play, and then realize whatever limitations I might have moving. Maybe I won't have any. Maybe we'll get to Sunday and I'll feel great. Or maybe I'll be very limited, but it just depends on how I'm feeling.
Aaron Rodgers on ESPN Milwaukee 540. NBA Lakers president and Governor Jeannie Buss told the LA Times she's holding the team's executive VP of basketball ops, her brother Jim, to his timetable that he'll step down if the franchise is not contending in 3 years.
Sports Center is brought to you by Red's Apple Ale. Crisp like an apple, brewed like a beer. A little different, a little daring, and anything but ordinary. Red's Apple Ale. Pick different.
to the Sports Fix.
Rolling.